What is up, everybody? Gonna do another day of talking about motorcycle safety, boys. What is up, everybody? How you guys all doing today? We're gonna be going over some motorcycle safety stuff. This is a great opportunity to ask questions, learn, do some things. I see a bunch of people in the chat. Got Matt Miller, Tim Duff, Stickler. How you doing, guys? You guys are all up in here. Desroyne, how you doing, man? How's everybody doing today? Today is Thursday, October 3rd. We're going to be going over some accident stuff. I have a video here. There's a few things in this video I just kind of skimmed through. I haven't seen some of these, so this will be a new one. So if you're new to the channel, what I do is I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays around 2 to 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time in America. And hey, I see you in the Discord too, Des. Nice. But yeah, I got a lot of cool things happening. I'm prepping for the e-course that I'm building up. I'm gonna be working on that after this stream, and then I got a few things. So I actually got a video submission. It was very good one. I got one this morning. Video, or not this morning. I think it was yesterday, but I was able to do it today. So a video submission about a deer. There's a deer that hit a motorcyclist, and he did really well. I got some good stuff. It's about a 4-minute video. It's gonna go up today at 5 p.m. So I'll be streaming for 1 hour, which will be 4 p.m. So about an hour after that, it's gonna go up. So I'm super excited about that. I got a lot of cool things. I got 3 videos coming for you. Anyways, super duper excited about a lot of things that are happening. So Matt Miller, so here's a good question right here. What would you suggest on doing with a helmet I got used from my neighbor? Should I keep it as a backup or throw it out? Well, hopefully you didn't pay for it. Usually used helmets are fine. Let's answer that question with something. All right. So let me grab my helmet real quick. So this is for anybody. This is what I love about it. When you guys ask questions, is because I'm sure there's somebody else out there that wants to ask that question but just doesn't, because a lot of people do want used helmets and they do want all these different things. So if you look inside your helmet, so if you look inside, it should have a born on date. There should be a born on date. So it's like when it was created, manufactured, all that stuff. And if it's older than 5 years, I'm not going to pull it out because I'm going to have to pull out all my comfort lining and all that. If it's over 5 years, throw it away or just hang it up as an ornament. If it's getting close, then you should be good. But then that's basically what you're using it for. It's like a used helmet. You're gonna have to probably get a new one from 2013. Oh, that's too old, man. Yeah, it's too old. 2013 is too old. That's getting close. So anywhere between 5 to 7 years. So that's super close. The thing is, it's just like tires, how they dry rot. The polystyrene foam inside can dry rot and it can start cracking. And if it's not cracked yet, if you get into a crash with it dry like that, it's not gonna have the absorption that you need. So yeah, 5 to 7 years, born on date, or 45,000 miles, roughly around 40 to 50,000 miles. Because of all the oils and sweat, it starts to deteriorate the foam on the inside. That's the protective part. So we're actually gonna jump into this right here. You hit a rabbit. I've hit rabbits. I've hit squirrels and stuff like that. It happens. If you guys would like to support the channel, please do so. We're at 448 patrons. I'll be updating that the more patrons we get during the stream. If you become a patron during the stream, you get a massive shout out. You're gonna get a shout out. So how much weaker flip up helmets? Much more risk than normal helmets. So you're thinking of, yeah, the modular helmets. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Modular helmet. So we're just gonna do just this right here so you guys can see what we're kind of talking about. So like modular helmets like this. The one thing that you want to watch out for with modular helmets, let's go ahead and open this image in a new tab, is this part right here. Can you guys see this part right here? It's right at the bottom. There's that clip. See that clip? good helmets will have a metal clip. So metal on metal, and it's going to be part of the structure. There's some clips that are going to be plastic, and those, I mean, they might hold up into a crash, but for me personally, I prefer metal. So if you're going to find a modular helmet like this, use metal clips. Modular helmets, they're a convenience thing. So if you're out riding, make sure you have it down so where it's a full face. But then if you're stopped, or if you're gonna get something to eat or drink just real quick, like you don't want to take your helmet off, go ahead and flip it up. So that's what I would do with that. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into this. Ever had issues with my ears after? You know, you guys are coming up with great questions. We're just gonna stick with some questions real quick. Have you ever had issues with my ears after a ride or two? Are you talking about like pain, like on the outside, like the ear lobes, or like on the inside of the ears where it's like ringing or anything like that? Tennessee checking in. How you doing, man? How you doing? V-Star 650 for 3K at less than 7,000 miles on it, dude. Yeah. If it's well kept. When I try to download video, there's a question about valid URL. What is this? Don't know what you're talking about. Just a bit of ringing. I had someone that went away after that right there. That's damage to your ears, dude. That ringing, that's damage. So you're gonna want to get some earplugs. Definitely, you're definitely gonna want. You're getting damage to your ears. It's healing up, but it's like you're at 100% when you first start as a baby, and then it goes down like 99, 98, 97. 96, like every time you damage your ear, and by the time you're like 60, you're gonna be at like 30% hearing. So yeah, it's tinnitus. That's a slight damage to the ear. Might not be like severe, but fine. But look for some earplugs, man. Our electric motorcycle of the future? I believe so. We're gonna go ahead and jump into this though. I'm gonna jump into this real quick. Uh-oh. Slow down. Oh, the next one's a little bit loud. So that was a tank slapper, but the slowest tank slapper I've ever seen. I think that was created because of tire pressure and or the shocks, the front forks being in a bad spot. So this is what you call a death wobble or a tank slapper. Let's go ahead and watch it. It's actually really cool because you get to see kind of how it starts and how it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Yeah, it's a very interesting angle. I actually kind of like it. So that's right there is the start of it, and you see how it starts to fluctuate. At this point, a lot of people are saying either roll off the throttle or increase the throttle and lean back, but the main thing is you have a lot of weight on that front tire and that front suspension, and it's starting to shake like this. When that happens, take weight off of that front tire. Okay, so hitting the brakes is going to put weight on that front tire like you're applying the brakes, so that's a no-no. So the one thing that you could do in this situation is to roll off the throttle gently and slowly, and then lean back, put a lot of weight on that rear tire if you possibly can, and while you're slowing down, hopefully it's going to stabilize. Thanks, Kris. Thank you so much. So let's go ahead and watch that one more time. There's really not much you could do other than having proper maintenance, make sure your tires properly inflated, and then also make sure your suspension, your front shocks have plenty of oil, and relax. It's just very unfortunate. Well, when you decelerate, Matt, everything starts to move forward. Everything starts to move forward, so a lot of the weight will go to the front tire, but it's not going to be a ton, so any deceleration will do that. With this, you actually see him roll off the throttle, and I think that was just an involuntary reaction. You see his hand when it starts. There it is. There's the roll off. So he's rolled off the throttle on this part, but he's probably has a lot of weight on that front tire. He should scoot his butt back if he possibly can. Maybe pulls the clutch in to remove power to that rear wheel. That way he just kind of coasts it out. But you can't really fight this because by the time you react to, let's say it's starting to turn left, you try to pull it back right so it's straight. It's already moving right. So now you pulled right too much. Now you're overcorrecting. So that's why some people say accelerate on the throttle. There's two, like I said, there's two schools of thought on this, and nobody really knows like how to fix it. When it comes to when it actually happens, there's some thought on how to prevent it. But one of the school of thought is to actually accelerate a little bit, because when you do that, it raises weight off the tires a little bit and kind of lets you float. That's why you blip the throttle when you go over an obstacle, is because it raises that front end just a little bit. But there's not much to do in this situation when it starts to happen other than try your best and work with what you can, which is to kind of like take weight off that front tire by leaning back. So we'll watch it one more time. This is the first one I've ever seen that was like super slow-mo. Usually people wheelie and make this happen. This one has a lot of noise. I'm going to mute it for you guys. There we go. All right, so let's go back. He didn't impact the vehicle. I'm gonna lower it down so you guys can hear it a little bit, but he didn't impact the vehicle. This was a panic brake. That's why he dropped. So he never hits the vehicle. He drops before the vehicle hits. So guys, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to choosing your evasive maneuvers wisely. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's been, I think, 90% of all the times I've had to do any type of evasive maneuver, I've chosen the swerve, and that saved my butt. The other 10% would be to apply the brakes and then swerve, or swerve and then brake, because you had to stop. It's a lot. We're on nimble bikes, guys. We're on very nimble bikes. We can do what we need to do just by moving. We don't need to apply the brakes a lot of the times. So he doesn't get hit and he drops the bike. But look at the escape paths that he has. And it's pretty hard with the camera angle. But right here, he's got escape paths to the left, big time. Now this guy's moving all the way left. He's probably going to go here to the left. This looks like a median. So he can't go all the way, but he has enough. Now, this is where also searching for that hazard comes into play. So you see the vehicle right here. Let me see if, there we go. So you see the vehicle right here. You see how it's in its lane? We talked about this in a lot of the lane filtering and lane splitting videos, and when cars want to merge into your lane, is that if this guy was moving over from the far right lane to get into this lane, the one that's next to us, his vehicle angle would not be like this. His vehicle angle is directed towards that left turn lane. Okay? So that right there should be an indication of, hey, he's going to cross my lane. If he wanted to go straight towards the green light, towards the intersection, he would be facing that way. He's not facing that way. He's facing towards where he wants to go. So when you see something like this where the car is just not the way it should be, let's roll up the throttle, apply the brakes if we can, so we can at least just give him that space cushion and let him go. But if we ever get into this part where we're like here, now we're just like way too far into it. There's no way we're going to brake in time. There's no way we're going to do anything other than do some type of evasive maneuver. So you're going to have to make that decision whether to brake and then let him go. That you have to see the hazard beforehand, so brake and let him go. Or you're going to have to do some type of evasive maneuver to the left or the right. You can also couple that with the acceleration. So if I was going to do some type of swerve to the left, I'd accelerate out of it. So I'd swerve and then accelerate as best I can to get out. Or swerve to the right, because I have this inclination that he's going to keep going left. I'll swerve to the right. It'll give me better space cushion. But you also have, vehicle stopped up top. So that's gonna be the really big deal. Sorry guys, it's like really cold in here. 1 second. I'm like shivering. All right, here we go. Much better. Much better. Would it be viable to swerve right? What if you swerve left but the car still hits him? So if you swerve left, here's the thing is, when we look at this, if we look at a static image like this, it's like, okay, if I swerve left, he's going to hit me, right? If I swerve right, it's going to be a better option. Swerve left or swerve right is good. No, that's fine, Jacob. Swerve left or swerve right is fine, but when we look at the speed that we're currently at versus the speed that the car is at, swerving left will be out of his path. We'll be out of his path by the time he gets close to us. So let's watch the speed we're at and then kind of how we catch up, like how fast we catch up to this guy, and we could easily make it. See how fast we caught up to the dude? If we just swerved, oh, he's sliding. So if we use that speed that we originally had, because remember, you're not supposed to brake and swerve. You either brake then swerve or swerve then brake. Because if you brake and swerve, you're using too much traction for your tires to decelerate. You're not using enough. You don't have enough traction to turn left or right. So in order to have the best amount of traction for a swerve, you need to not accelerate or decelerate and use every ounce of traction you possibly have for the turn and then accelerate out of it. Sharp turn, sharp turn. So let's go back to that. So this is one of those decreasing radius turns. So let's go back to that first initial turn right here. Is that you're going to see, let's use these mirrors as indications of where the bike is in relation to our body position. So right here we have the mirrors. We are closer, and it might be just the camera angle, but you can kind of tell just by the position of everything is that his head is straight vertical, and that's more than likely his shoulders are vertical. So like he's normally riding in a straight line, everything's straight. So he's turning, he's pushing the bike down. And what he's doing is he doesn't have proper body positioning. So when he pushes the bike down, the angle of the bike and the tires are using as much as it possibly can to keep it upright, the traction. And if you move the bike more vertically and then you move down with proper body positioning, you're keeping the bike more upright. So now your suspension is working the way it's supposed to, and you have more traction, more contact patch on the tires. So you can still make the turn the same way, everything, but now you have better suspension and more traction. So this is what I'm using right here is these mirrors, is that you want your head closer to the inside mirror, because that way your bike is more up. So he's actually closer to the outside mirror, not the inside mirror. So this one, he's actually doing a lot better. So let me go ahead and move this up a little bit. See how he's closer to this mirror? That's perfectly fine, but the mirror looks like it's actually a lot farther down. But this turn is more like a 180-degree turn instead of a 90-degree turn. A normal 90-degree turn is what he just did, where it's just going to be nice little turn to the right. Now he's doing a turn to the left, but it's another turn to the left. So when he does that, he's at the apex right here. So that's the closest part he's going to be to the inside. And then when he gets past it, he's going to try to maintain that line, but he's going to have to lean further and further and further and further, because he went outside, inside, and he's going way outside. So he's like, I got to, stay on the inside. and he's going to push his bike further and further and further down to the point where the tires have not enough traction to keep the bike on the ground, and it's going to cause a low side. So about right there. About right there is when he dumps the bike. You see how the mirror is way down here? Yeah, he's pushing the bike down. And I think the reason why he's doing that, you're going to see his buddy come up on a supermoto, and that's pretty much what you do on a supermoto. You push that bike down, you kind of get your foot down. So his buddy's on a supermoto, and that's kind of how they ride. There's probably a bunch of different factors, but this is basically what I see. Another factor could be that he, in the middle of that turn where he had very low traction, he hit the accelerator, he hit the throttle, and used up too much traction with the turning and acceleration, which caused that rear tire to slide. Because if you look back at where the initial portion or slid out first, is so right here, we're going to go. See how the back end is now further than the front end? That means this front end had traction while the back end didn't, and it slid. So the goal is to lean over so you can take the turn with more upright bike. I thought you wanted to lean deeper and lean over so your bike doesn't snap up. So the whole point of, let me go ahead and find something for you. So motorcycle body position cornering. So it's in a Total Control book. Riding in the Zone is actually a really good website to use. Let me see if I can find a proper picture of it. Ken Condon is a very smart dude. So this picture is kind of like what I'm trying to say. You see how he's more so in the inside? So he's more so towards the inside. See how his head is next to the mirror and he's looking where he wants to go? That's what you should be doing. This is the technique for cruisers. This isn't an aggressive turn because you see how his feet and his knees aren't out. When you have your toes pointed towards the turn and your knees pointed towards the turn, you have the bike more upright. But you see how his head and his upper body is closer to this side on the inside? The motorcyclist had it opposite. He had the bike towards the inside and then his body up. But you see how the bike is a lot more straighter on a turn like this? See how the suspension is more vertical? It's not going to be perfectly vertical because we're not going straight. We're in a turn, but you have a better contact patch. Let's go back to the other ones. So another body positioning. So this is more so on the racing. So when we're going a little bit faster, we still want that bike to be upright. And let's just take away the knee aspect of this. Let's look at the upper body. So his upper body, his chest and everything is up and over. You see the gas tank as a test for center. See that gas cap? That's the center of the bike. You see how his right armpit is right above that gas cap. That means he is leaned over on top of the upper body. That is what is going to make it to where it's going to be easier for the turn. And I use the example of just stand up straight, everybody. Let's go ahead and do this real quick. I'm in shorts. I'm not wearing professional anything, but so this is one of the easiest ways of showing it. So while we're standing, we're all crooked. So while we're standing up like this, if we just stand with like a heavy object, if we stand with a heavy object centered to our mass, we can balance it really well. But the moment I put it in one hand and I start to lean it over and over and over and over, you start to feel like the weight is starting to pull you in that direction, right? So grab like a 10-pound dumbbell or something and just walk and just move it over and over and over away from your body. Since you're moving away from the body wants to naturally lean over. So when you're out riding and you start just leaning a little bit over, it's actually going to make everything move over. So that helmet that I was using as an example is me on the bike, and then me standing up was the bike. So it's actually going to lean it over a little bit. And when you do that, you're actually going to keep your suspension the way it's supposed to. You're going to keep a good contact patch, and then on top of that, you're going to make the turn. Grab a hat. There we go. There we go. So that's why you want to have body positioning. You want to lean a little bit over on the bike. And if you start to utilize some of those principles for when you're riding, so when you have a crosswind on the interstate, you put your leg out and it's actually going to grab it like it's a sail. For the play button, no, it's right there. I'm working on the room a little bit. Main thing is I'm focusing on the e-course that I have coming up. This is a quad. So I'm not going to comment on the quad thing, just because, I mean, it's a quad. We're here for motorcycles. So I suggest taking an advanced class if you want to learn more about body positioning. I put in the comments that you don't need to get your knee down, but the whole prospect of getting in that aggressive move where your knee is out and your upper body's over, that is what's going to help you in your turning. Now, if you're going to go at a higher rate of speed, greater turning angle, you use your knee a little bit. Remember, knee down isn't just to get your knee down. The knee down is an indication of, hey, this is how far I'm leaning, because you keep your knee the way it's supposed to be. You have it pointed out, and you're leaning, and all of a sudden you touch your knee, you're like, oh, I'm leaned that far. Another thing is that it does provide some type of traction, so it can help you turn, but that's all advanced stuff. That's all advanced stuff. Nope. Do not do that, everybody. Do not do that. Do not recommend doing that. All right. Lots of speed, lots of rain. Lots of speed, lots of rain. So we're at night, so the crash factors in this one. Now remember, with the crash factors and close call factors, all these different things, if you start adding more and more factors like hazards to your ride, there's a greater chance that you're going to crash. So right here we have nighttime. That's a factor. We have rain. That's a factor. We have high speed coupled with all those things. That's a factor. We have traffic. That's a factor. So these are really high traffic or high factors for crashing, and we can start eliminate some of those things. So for here, maybe he has to get home. Maybe he has to do something. He's out for a ride. So he can't eliminate the rain. He can't eliminate the nighttime. He can't eliminate the traffic. The thing that he can eliminate to help mitigate a risk is slowing down and riding to the hazards that are present. So when I say riding to the hazards that are present, since it's raining, since it's nighttime, since it's traffic. So let's take nighttime. So nighttime, we have limited visibility when it comes to anything. So we're pretty much limited to our headlight and what other lights that are out. So we have very decreased visibility. So we need to ride to a decreased visibility standard. On top of that, we have rain, which is going to decrease our visibility even more. On our shields, we're going to get raindrops, and it's going to mess up our vision. And then on top of that, we have low traction or lower traction compared to what we would have during dry environments. So now we have to ride with limited visibility because of night, so we have to slow our pace. 2, we have rain, which is going to reduce our visibility even more, and we're going to lose traction. So now we have to be smoother on our controls, even smoother on our controls. And number 3, we have traffic. So now we have to pay attention to other hazards. We can't see them very well because we have poor visibility. If we increase our speed, now we just decreased our reaction time when we have poor visibility in the first place. So the one thing that we have control over is our speed. We don't have control over the night. We don't have control over the rain. We don't have control over the other cars. We have control over how we ride, and that's going to be smoother inputs. We're going to have to give ourselves more time for these inputs because we have less traction and less visibility. And then on top of that, we need to slow it down so that we can actually see what's happening. So he didn't do that. That was the mistake right there. He was doing fine until he decided that he had an open road. He's going to speed. That's the problem. That's going to be one of the major forces in the crash. I didn't pause the music. He did that. So his bike's going to hit the other vehicle too. Doing a U-turn. Good job. Oh, loading the bike. There's ways to do it. So we'll leave that as is. I think we understand what happened with loading the bike. He missed the ramp, and he went nose first into that. So he missed the ramp. You could either ride it up or walk it up. You see how he has a second ramp right there? The safest option for this would be to use that second ramp, put it right next to the other one, and then walk your bike up. He's choosing just to ride it up and completely missed it. That happens. Thankfully, it's a dirt bike and probably was able to sustain that damage. Guys, real quick, I've been posting in the chat to become a patron. If you are here during the stream, you become a patron, you'll get a shout out and everything, but the goal is to get 500 plus patrons and traveling. I made an update on patreon.com/DanandTheFireman about the e-course, and I kind of mentioned it a few times in the e-course. So I have an intro to motorcycling e-course. I have some modules kind of set up. I'm going to be fleshing it out into a full-fledged e-course with quizzes, with homework, with everything. It's going to be right here. We got 10 modules easily. This first one, the intro to motorcycling, is going to probably be about 15 modules. I got module 11 down here, but I'll be adding more and more and more, and I can't wait to share with you guys more of that stuff. But the only way you can be a part of that is on Patreon. It's only $2 a month, and you're actually supporting others to get some training. And during the update that I just posted today, if you are a patron, once this e-course goes live, you get it for free. Okay, it doesn't matter what tier you're at. So $2, $5, $20, whatever it is, you'll get the e-course for free. So swing on by patreon.com/DanandTheFireman. It really helps out. Quick question. Anyone know when being a patron with filing tax returns there? I get a 1099 for the Patreon. Oh! Oh! There must be oil on the ground. Or everybody has bald tires. There's got to be like oil right there. right here. So it could either be a panic stop for this rider that witnessed this crash, but when I'm watching this, you see this line? I think that might be some type of oil or tar snake. It's in the center of the road. Typically, with good road construction, the water and fluids roll off during a rain. It's very foggy, very high humidity, and there's a lot of moisture in the air. So more than likely, it's lifting up some oils in the ground. So that's quite possibly what happened. But I'm trying to find out when he crashed. Okay, so he starts sliding right here. This rider on the Honda with the camera starts. He might be applying the rear brake, and then causing his rear tire to slide. So I don't know if this is a brake issue, but remember, there's a bunch of factors. So even if it's a brake issue or water issue, we can start talking about different factors. So we have, you know, obviously the moisture. We have a wet road, loss of traction, not enough gear. These people have passengers, so there's a lot of weight on that rear tire. A little bit of brake pressure in the middle of a turn with a wet road can cause some problems, especially right before a speed bump. So I have a feeling that he saw the speed bump and tried to slow down in the middle of a turn to do it, because he hits the turn, and then the rider right here has his rear tire slide out. So this person's rear tire didn't slide out until about halfway through the turn. So when did this guy's? Oh, same. So there quite possibly could have been some type of oil in the road, like right about here, because this guy in front started sliding halfway through the yellow and black, and then about halfway, same thing. So you got to watch out for that. Really got to watch out for that. Not much they could have done in this situation if it was oil, so that quite possibly could be oil. At least here in the United States, like I said, in my rain videos, is that at the center of the road, that's typically where, you know, the cars, they'll start dripping oils, start dripping fluids, all these. Trey, how you doing? Start dripping all these different things, and then it gets absorbed into the asphalt. When it rains, within the first 30 minutes to an hour, it actually starts to lift it up. It's a surfactant. It cleans the road basically when it starts to rain. So it's going to lift up oil, debris, dirt, and all that stuff. It's going to lift it up, and then it's going to hopefully wash it away. But within the first 30 minutes, it's lifting it up, lifting it up. So if you ride on top of that, you're riding on oil, debris, pretty much everything that's going to ruin your traction on the tires. So stay away from the middle of the roads when it first starts raining. What I like to do is ride where typically car tires go, and you'll actually see that in the road. You'll see like it's a different shade of dark when it's raining. You'll see when the car tires hit. That right there is more of a dry area, and there's gonna be less oil on that spot. Yeah, super low grip levels right there. But let's go back just a little bit. When you see them crash, this is one of those things when I talk about mechanism of injuries, that you see somebody crash and they're going to hit a curb, they're going to hit something. This bump that they hit right afterwards, right there, that bump, how they get launched up, that's an extra layer of injury. And it could be the curb, it could be anything. So guys, you need to wear your gear just in case something like this happens. You guys ready for the next one? Dude, I saw those. Oh. So he looped it. Okay. Oh, he ran into him. He ran into him. Oh, no. You see how those guys took off? Oh, there's road rash. He's got a... See what the original video is. Don't make it look like it's a GoPro video. It's not a GoPro video, dude. So this right here, the free-for-all setting of this, your visibility gets really diminished. You notice how you can't see anything past this guy right here? So everyone's constantly moving over to see around everybody. And if everybody's doing that, there's no formation and people are going to start running into each other. Jeez, this is terrible. So yeah, we do have, if you want to become a YouTube member, we do have the squid emoji. And then I'll do a few rips in the chat right there. So YouTube members, the latest one was Cosmin Mikhailov. Hopefully I said that right. That was the last one. Super chat, Andrew Orcutt. That was a while. That was before October. So the first super chat of October, you're gonna have your name right in that little purple spot. So this is the guy. This is the guy that crashes. The one that's doing the wheelie. You see how he went from here, way up there, past all these people? Ego. Ego, 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 guys. Huge amount of ego. That's peer pressure. Oh, Dave, a.k.a. Sean. Yeah, boy. Welcome to the DDFM crew, man. Thank you so much for becoming a crew member. Appreciate it, man. That is awesome. Thank you so much. I got to update this thing because Patreon is acting funky. So $4.49, boys. $4.49. Yeah. Thank you so much. Make sure you send me your picture because you can have your... Hey, Trey Bradley with the donation. Thank you so much. Look at that. Boom. Right there. Super chat. Top donator of the month so far. Boom. Enigma. Hey, we'll go over this just for Enigma. Okay, so what happens in this video is that somebody is doing a wheelie in a group ride, crashes into somebody else, and has massive road rash. We're here or there. So, this guy right here is the one that's going to crash. This guy right here. So ego, guys, peer pressure. So real quick, we talk about people driving with their phones. We got people on their phones. So there's the impact. So there's the impact right there. Hits somebody else. So this is what I talk about when you're out in a group ride and people are doing peer pressure type crap. It's putting everyone else in danger. Yeah, so so the whole peer pressure thing, it really goes back to the pack mentality. I should start using pack mentality more so than peer pressure. Sometimes you're gonna have, you know, people egging people on, but this right here is the pack mentality, where if you see something happening and you see all these things, that your ego, everything starts to creep in, and you're like, I gotta show off, I gotta status, you know, I gotta prove my status, I gotta start proving things. That's when, if you're not humble, that's what happens. That's exactly what happens. So this is why I don't ride with a lot of groups like this, especially if they never stay in formation. I'm gone. I just leave. So if you're ever in this situation, guys, and people are starting to ride like idiots, just leave. Just take off. Start going to the back or pull off the side and get out of there. So this guy right here, I find this kind of disconcerting, is that he stops to check the bike and then he takes off. Ginger Chef, you got a Rebel 500? Yes! You're going to love it, dude. So he takes off. So I'm going to increase the volume for you guys so you can hear what they have to say. I'll pause it every time I make a comment. But people are starting to pull off on the road. And we're going to talk a little bit about the injuries. And we're going to end the stream on the injuries. I got 15 more minutes of the live stream. So if you want to get your name shouted out for being a patron or anything, even a super chat, membership, all that stuff, you better do it now. There will be a video later today at 5 p.m. though. But right here, so he's on the ground. So this is kind of what you start to see. You get off your bike, you see somebody on the ground. We're doing the initial scene survey. Okay, so we need to start getting an idea of what's happening. I see somebody on the ground, not wearing any gear. It's a motorcycle accident. Let's say I didn't witness the accident. It is more so like, hey, I feel like this is a single vehicle accident. He fell, crashed, whatever it is. His bike's in pieces. I see him over here. He's not on the road, so he either got ejected and flew off or he slid off. Either way, very high mechanism, very high injury rate because of no gear, nothing to protect himself. So I'm moving up here. I'm thinking to myself, what is needed? I need to control traffic. There's a lot of crazy people out there on the road. I need to control traffic. I need to get 911 on the phone right now, get EMS on the way, just in case something happened, like severe. If he just gets up and walks away, perfectly fine. I'll tell 911, hey, we don't need you anymore. Or when they get there, I'll talk to the patient and I'll be like, hey, you could refuse service if you want to. I call 911 just in case. Another thing is that I need to start using some of these people. I need to grab one or two of them to start doing these things. I'm going to grab somebody and say, hey, you call 911. And then I'm going to grab somebody else. Hey, you block off this lane right here. I need you to get 100 feet down the road and block off this lane. I want people to start going in the opposite lane, the lane over here. That way I have room to work just in case. Yes, we are on the side of the road, but since I've blocked off traffic, there's not going to be traffic backed up. So when EMS does show up, they have a nice space of 100 feet to park their bike, or not park their bike, park their ambulance and fire truck and police. That's why you do that. So that I did all that in my head the moment I got off my bike right here in this spot. And that's what training really kicks in. With your, we talk about motorcycle skills and training, but we also need to start thinking about accident scene management skills. And that's something that you can take in the class. And you're going to see it right there above the chat right now. It says Rockform 25% off with code DANDAN25. Go ahead and grab one. It's pretty cool. But you're going to see one that's going to pop up that says accidentscene.org. There's an online class that you can take. I think it's only $30, but you're going to get a lot of information. Part of the e-course that I'm putting together, it's going to have that included. With my own version, my own input. So stay tuned. Patrons, you're making that possible. So we're going to move up to this. So when you start yelling, somebody call 911, somebody call 911. Oh, Eddie Fitzgerald, thank you so much for the patronage, boy. Make sure you send me your picture if you want your picture up on the DDFM crew wall forever. So I think that's 450. We just hit 450 again, guys. Let's see if we can get back to 500. We hit 500 for a little bit. What time is the September drawing stream tomorrow? It should say the time on it. I'll double check it after the stream and I'll update the post. So when you hear somebody say, hey, somebody call 911, somebody call 911, this is why I say I want you to grab somebody and say, you call 911. Because if somebody just says, hey, somebody call 911, the person that heard it's going to be like, huh, are you going to call 911? Or they're going to look and they're look around. Everybody's going to start looking at each other. And it's like, oh, somebody's going to call 911. Nobody calls 911. So that's why you need to grab somebody. So we're going to move up to this part. So everybody's standing around, no clue what to do. That's fine. These people do not know what to do. Let's say you're the guy with the camera and you know what to do. Start utilizing these people. All you need is hands. You don't need brains at this point. So like I said, you call 911. Hey, you go control traffic. Hey, you help me out. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. You need to be the one with the knowledge. Okay, so right here, these people are doing absolutely nothing. Nothing. And that is not helping this guy. What happens if that's you on the ground? Wouldn't you want some of your riding buddies to have some accident scene management training or have anything that will help save your life? What happens if this is your friend, this is your best friend, this is your family member, this is your wife, this is your cousin, this is whoever, and they're on the ground right now, and you don't have any training whatsoever? Let's say somebody ran into you or your friend, your loved one, and this is what happens, and they did nothing, it's not their fault, they're on the ground. Do you have that training? And if you don't, then we need to start thinking about what we can do. So right here, we're going to move forward. This discoloration, that is road rash. That looks like it's first degree road rash. There's first, second, third, and fourth degree road rash, just like first, second, third, and fourth degree burns. See, there you go. Save a Life right at the top. So Save a Life, roadguardians.org, very at the top. Go there, guys. You're going to get some good training there. Honestly, good thing first aid training is mandatory for driving license. I think it should be, I don't know if it should be mandatory, but I think it should be offered. You know what I mean? At least here in the United States. I'm very libertarian. Yeah, he's almost in the recovery position. So recovery position is that if they pass out, they vomit, it's going to come out, not aspirate and go in their lungs. Anyways, this is first degree road rash. So you're going to have the top layer of your skin completely ripped off. So your nerve endings are exposed, and then you have some type of capillary bleeding, so it's going to kind of ooze out. You're going to have certain spots in there that are second degree to where they're really exposed and it's very painful. You're going to have some venous blood. And then if you have third degree, that means you got flesh ripped off. Fourth degree, you pretty much got it all the way down to the bone, and the bone itself is starting to get shaved down. No gear other than a helmet. These are just regular shoes, regular shirt, regular shorts. You see how the shirt was lifted up during the road rash? Your jacket, that's why you need to have it not cinched down, but have it appropriately fitting around your waist. And this is why one-piece leathers and one-piece suits are really good, because it won't go up. You know what I mean? It won't slide up on you. So you found the time? Awesome. So it won't slide up on you. So you have some jackets that have a zipper that go to the back, so you can actually zip it and attach your pants to it. That's why they're there. I myself never really use it, but I mean, this is a great reminder that I should. So he's going to have road rash right here, but underneath that shirt, he's going to have road rash too, because you have heat transfer going through the cotton fabric. So remember, this is an abrasive injury, but then you also have abrasion right here, like a carpet burn, like a rug burn, and that's going to start transferring heat to the skin, and you're actually going to have first or second degree burns. You have first or second degree road rash here, but you're going to have burns there, and then quite possibly along the hip. So this is why you have hip armor. But we're going to go ahead and move forward just a little bit so we can get a better shot. You see how nobody knows what to do. This guy's wanting to move. He's wanting to do his thing. This is where you need to start talking to him. He quite possibly has a head injury. You can see the road rash right here on his other side. So his right latissimus dorsi, which is that little the wing that bodybuilders have when it sticks out. He's got it right there on his back. So he tumbled. He slid on his left side, and then he rolled over and slid on his back side right here. So that's very painful. Imagine trying to sleep for the next few weeks with road rash. You got to sleep on your chest. I'm a back sleeper. I like to sleep on my back, so that's going to be really painful. He quite possibly has a head injury. And sorry, guys, in the chat, I'm talking out loud. I'm just thinking out loud. Hopefully you guys are getting some information from me. But he's probably has a head injury, and see how he's getting up nice and slow. He's just not there. His consciousness is not there. His body is doing what it thinks it needs to do. At this point, you need to talk to him like he's a drunk person. If you guys know how to talk to drunk people and de-escalate situations with drunk people, you're in a good spot already. But you have to start talking to him like he's a child and he's like a drunk person, and you start walking him through everything, and you have to repeat yourself multiple times, especially with a head injury. So in this situation, I'd be like, hey, buddy, lay down. You're good, man. You're good. Hey, no, everything's fine. Are you hurting anywhere? Everything's good, man. Just let's lay down a little bit. Let's lay down. You know where you're at? That's how you'd start talking to somebody like that. You want them to stay down, because more than likely when he goes up and he stands up, there's a good chance that he's going to drop. Hey, Trey, you boy. Thank you so much, Trey. Appreciate the patronage. That's awesome, dude. Thank you so much. I think we're at 551 now. Sorry, I get distracted easily. So if you guys want to distract me, that's how you do it. That or super chats. All right, we're still. Oh no. Thanks, man. No. I think that was an update, man. Dude. Oh, thank you. That's a huge update. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. So we're still 450, but that is a great thing to do. Is that if you want to, you can also increase your pledge. That really helps out. Anyways. Talk to him like he's a drunk person, relax him, coax him into laying down, because if you do stand up, especially after a head injury, you could have a drop in blood pressure. And when you have a drop in blood pressure, your body just says screw it and then goes unconscious, and boom, now you have a secondary injury where you hit your head because you passed out. Let's go back just a little bit. So everyone's yelling, hey, stay down, but remember, this is a very confusing time for the patient. He's got road rash all along his leg right there too. So he's got road rash all over his body. And so if you're just yelling, stay down, stay down, stay down, just remember, he's not all there. He doesn't know you're talking to him. So you need to get into him and be like, this is him, this is the mic, but this is his helmet. Be like, hey, buddy, hey, stay down, stay down, stay down, stay down. Hey, relax, relax, relax. You know, let's sit down. Hey, what's up, Scouts? How you doing? Honestly, just wanted my photo. Yeah, dude, send me your photo, man. Email me at dandanthefireman928@gmail.com or message me on Discord, private message me, and I'll add that photo right after the stream, dude. So your photo will be popping up just like Alan's right there is. There we go. So this is what you should be doing. Get close in there and talk to him. Don't just stand up with your hands in your pockets or not knowing what to do. You need to get in there and talk to him. So if somebody just yelled, hey, just let him get up, let him get up. Nope. Here's the thing is that when you don't have the training, and let's go back just a little bit. Let's say you don't have the training. So you're the guy in the red. So you're doing what you think you're supposed to be doing, right? You don't have the training. All of a sudden somebody yells out with some type of authority voice that says, hey, let him get up. And then since you don't have any training, you're like, okay, yeah, let's let him get up. This is where you need to start having that training. So you need to be like, no, he's not going to get up. And then you tell him, I'm an EMT, I'm a firefighter, I'm a paramedic, I have accident scene management instruction, I need you to do. This is where you need to get into that and be like, hey, no, you need to call 911, call 911. So you take over your authoritative figure, because the reason why the guy's yelling that is because he wants to be that authority. He wants to do that, not necessarily knows what's supposed to be going on. Everyone's guessing. Everyone's guessing what's going on. And I think a lot of that is a distraction injury. He was saying watch his back. He's got a lot of road rash on his back. That's a distracting injury. He has road rash. But what about his spine? What about his liver? What about his spleen, his stomach, his large intestine, his lungs, his rib cage? What about the actual structure of his body? What about the concussion that he has? What about his cervical spine? What about all that stuff? We're not focused on that because what we see is the road rash. That is called a distracting injury. You need to focus on what is life-threatening, the ABCs, airway, breathing, circulation. Well, is his airway good? Is he breathing? Is he talking? That's why you start talking to him. Be like, hey, buddy, what's your name? You know where you're at? And if he starts talking to you like how I'm talking, where it's like multiple words a minute, he's filling out full sentences, that means he's got airflow. So his airway and breathing, we know for a fact it's good. Right now, it could get worse, but we know right now it's good. Now I need to do a full body assessment and check for any life-threatening bleeding. Like I said, with the first-degree road rash, he's going to have some type of capillary bleeding. Capillary bleeding is not life-threatening. Venous bleeding can be life-threatening, so the veins are not under pressure. So when you see blood squirting out, that's arterial. And when the blood's squirting out and it's bright red, that means it's highly oxygenated and it came straight from the heart, and that's why it's under pressure. So if you start seeing bright red blood or anything squirting, stop it. Stop that blood. That is a life-threatening bleed. If you start seeing a lot of venous bleeding, then go ahead and stop that, because that is right there. You sent me an email. Awesome. That right there could develop into a loss of blood, and then you can go into hypovolemic shock. So low volemic volume shock is when you have low perfusion, which means that your brain and your major organs aren't getting enough oxygen, and the only way you can get oxygen is through blood. So low volume blood shock, have a big problem there. You'll learn a lot of this stuff in accident scene right there, roadguardians.org. You're going to learn a lot of that at accidentscene.org or roadguardians.org. Both go to the same place. So you've seen how he's like, oh, he's got injuries on his back. If we lay him on his back, this is what's going to happen. This guy's guessing everything. There's a lot of people standing around not doing anything. This is where you need to start saying, hey, get away, go. If you don't know what you're doing, get out of here. You're just creating problems. So they literally moved him from his knees to his butt. There is no precaution for his cervical spine. The cervical spine is the first 7 vertebrae right below your skull. Okay, so the first 7 vertebrae. The first 3, no, I'm sorry, the first 5. No. First 3 to 5. Anyways, I think, yeah, I believe the first 3 includes your brainstem. So if the first 3 get broken and they slide on you and it snaps the brainstem, you're dead. After that, I think 4 to 7, if you snap any part of your spinal cord, then you're paralyzed from the neck down. So that's very, very bad. And the way our necks are designed, we have a very heavy head for our neck, and it's not designed very well. So if you have any type of fracture in there, it's very easy to exaggerate that injury. So somebody was saying he knows where he's at, and that's perfectly fine. You can know where you're at. So whenever I ask a patient, like, so I'm trying to get his level of consciousness. That's what it's called, LOC, level of consciousness. I'll ask him his name. Does he know where he's at? Does he know who the president of the United States is? Do you know what city you're in? So person, place, thing, and then current event is what I pretty much ask, because I want to know where he's at. Because you can ask, hey, you know your name? Yeah, my name's Daniel. Oh, do you know where you're at? Yeah, I'm in Tucson, Arizona. Okay, cool. Do you know who the president of the United States is? Yeah, it's Obama. And then you're like, oh, there's a flip of a switch, because you could be living in Tucson your whole life. You could know your name your whole life. And that's easy to answer when you have a certain part of your brain damaged. But a current event, and I use the presidency as a good way, because it changes every either 4 to 8 years. I'll ask them that, and then if all of a sudden they're like, yeah, Obama or George W. Bush is the president. And I'm like, oh, okay, there's something here. He's not exactly fully alert. So yeah, just because he knows his name and he knows where he's at doesn't mean he's actually all there. And then on top of that, this is a critical incident, so you need to ask every 5 to 10 minutes. And because who knows, in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, the bleeding could get worse or something else could get worse. And then you ask him again, hey man, what's your name? Daniel? See how it can switch?
Lester.
Don't pick him up. Don't. Oh my gosh. If he can't stand up on his own power, there's something wrong. And you shouldn't allow him to get up or try to get up. If it's not like a normal thing where, like, if when you get up from sitting, you kind of pop up and you're all good. Typically with people with injuries or brain injuries specifically is that they're going to try to get up and they're stumbling. Like I said, they're drunk. So if you witness that, you really need to just let them lay down or sit down and not do anything. It's better to let them lay down, honestly, because now you're keeping the spine in line. Don't take the helmet off. Do not take the helmet off. This is one of those things that I'm really happy that I have the experience as an EMT firefighter for 10.5 years, and I've witnessed this. I have been in here. I have been there and witnessed people doing this crap and making things worse. I've witnessed it. I've had to deal with the aftermath with these people. He's about to pass out. See how his head is down? That's a body's natural reaction. Remember, it takes a certain amount of blood pressure to get the blood to the brain. The brain needs the oxygen and needs the nutrients in order to function. If it's low like low glucose levels, like in a diabetic, you pass out because your body doesn't have what it needs. Also with low oxygen, you're gonna pass out. So what's happening here is that his brain has an injury, so his blood pressure probably bottomed out. It's not getting the oxygen, it's not getting the nutrients it's supposed to get because it doesn't have enough blood pressure, or it's not high enough blood pressure. So what the body's naturally going to do is put that head down and lean forward because it wants the body closer to the heart. So when the body's closest to the heart on an even plane, because remember, the blood has to go against gravity to get to the brain, that's why you need blood pressure, is that right here, he's leaning over. His body's natural instinct is to lean over or pass out. It's going to want to pass out, so it's laying flat on the ground. Therefore, the blood is able to get to the brain. That's why whenever you stand up super fast after like either being dehydrated or not drinking enough water or just whatever it is, and you feel dizzy, your blood pressure drops so much that you're roughly about to pass out. You could pass out easily. So he's probably the one that got hit. He's probably the one that got hit by the guy doing the wheelie. Yeah, so this is probably the bike that he hit. Trying to be a GoPro dude. So we spent quite a bit of time on that video, and this is why I take these things so seriously, is that I see these accidents quite a bit when I was a firefighter, and this is why I talk about motorcycle safety. And I jumped in from being a firefighter EMT to, you know, I was riding motorcycles, and I wanted to share some tips to keep you guys hopefully alive. And I've gradually gotten better and better, more education, so that when I talk to you guys, it's a little bit easier, and I know more. So I mean, I started the process back in 2015 of talking to you guys. So it's been about 4 years. It's been about 4 years of me researching, getting more information, getting smarter, so I can talk to you guys more and more and more. And I've never strayed away from what my principles are, is to keep you guys safe. That's my goal. It's my absolute goal, is to keep you safe and to provide you guys with the information. Right there's a savealife.roadguardians.org. My goal is to do that, and that's why I'm coming up with my own e-course. So I have an intro to motorcycling e-course that I'm in the process of developing. I got a website learning, and it's a straight up e-course. It's those type. If anybody's in government, you guys know those websites where you have to go to. If you're in firefighting or anything like that, you ever heard of Target Solutions? That's pretty much what I'm creating for you guys. And it's going to be super inexpensive so people can get into it. And it's not going to be a massive barrier to entry. It's one thing I think motorcycling, the reason why it's so dangerous is because people can afford the bike, but then they can't afford anything else. They can't afford the training, they can't afford the gear, they can't afford any of that stuff. So the one thing I can offer is inexpensive but high quality training, and that's what I'm gonna be doing. And if you're a patron, the moment it goes out, so I'm working on the e-course every single day. When it goes public, if you are a patron, you will get that training for free. It doesn't matter if you're a $2 patron, $5 patron, $10, $20, $100, whatever it is. If you are a patron on patreon.com/DanandTheFireman, you will get that e-course for free. Okay? You're going to get it for free because you guys are the ones that are helping me develop it. So if you want to help me develop it and become a beta tester, I'm going to select a few people to go through the process and help me develop it. And if you want to be a part of that, please, please, please join Patreon. Please do that. And it's going to help. It's going to help out a lot. My goal is to keep you guys safe. It's never changed. So if you'd like to help out, please join. Please join the Patreon right there. In the Marine Corps, in order to ride, you have to take BRC and ARC within 120 days. Yeah, Trey, so we, at Ride Arizona MTC out here in Tucson, we have a contract with Davis-Monthan Air Force Base out here. And there's guys there that they have to take the BRC and then the ARC too. So it's actually pretty cool that they're forced to do it, so they get the training, because, man, the fatalities that are involved, it's like, why die on a motorcycle when you're in the military, right? I mean, that's ridiculous. Like, you're training with situational awareness, you're training with, you know, how to survive certain things, and then you die on a motorcycle, get severely injured on a motorcycle because you didn't have the training. I mean, your whole life is training, right? Yeah, the military pays for it too. Your whole life is training when you're in the military. So why aren't we training outside of our work life? You know, we ride for fun. Why aren't we getting the training for that? And like I said, when it came to the accident, is that person crashed. Imagine if that was your loved one, whether it's a friend, family, whoever, stranger. For me, you guys are all strangers. You know, I mean, if I ever met you, if I come up to you and I look at you, you're a stranger until we say hi to each other and we get to know each other. But that doesn't change the fact that if I see you crash and I've never met you before, that I'm not going to take care of you. I want to take care of you. That's the whole point of this. Yeah, these streams are rewatchable, so if you want to fast forward to a lot of the stuff, then we could do that. I'm going to work on some videos where we talk about the actual accident stuff, so it'd be kind of cool. But yeah, so guys, I wanted to share that with you, and I just wanted to say thank you guys for being here. We're going to be ending the stream today. I got some stuff I'm going to do. It's Full Twist, how you doing? So please join up on Patreon. Patreon is the place to go in order to support this channel. Remember, we got the e-course coming up, and I will be needing some help, and you guys are the help. We're going to create something very important here, and you guys can be easily a part of it. So let's join up. Here we go. Look at that. Boom, boom. The stream is live. Discord is right there. Join up, guys. Join up on the Discord. Discord is absolutely free. If you would like to join the Discord, there's 1,700 people in it. Go to bed, Lion. Go to bed, dude. Kilted Rob just joined. So guys, when you join, it shows up right there. So join up, click that link. Yeah, you are faster. The song I found on it was one of the YouTube free things. I forgot what it's called.